and welcome to the Prosperity and Beyond podcast. I'm Michelle Stamper, your mindset and manifestation coach, here to help you create your dream life from the inside out. In this space, we dive deep into self image, mindset shifts, manifestation, meditation, and universal laws so you can align with your highest timeline and step fully into your authentic power. This is your sacred space to trust your intuition, raise your vibration, and unlock prosperity and freedom from within, starting right now. Today, I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest, Kate West. Kate is an intuitive energy healer, channeler, and a powerful guide for those on their spiritual path. Kate's story is not only inspiring, it's deeply activating. I know you're going to love this conversation, so get cozy, open your heart, and let's dive in. Say it with me. I am prosperity and beyond. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 6. I have a special guest with me, Kate West, and she is not just an energy healer. She is one of my dear friends who's actually changed my life. And this is actually, I feel like I'm getting deja vu actually as we're speaking this. Like we've already done this before, which is crazy. We met on TikTok
Mhm.
actually because I got a reading done from her, and she's changed my life more than she realizes. She is just this like gleaming light and inspiration, and she chooses herself every single day. And we had a lot in common from going to grad school, getting her master's degree, and transitioning to entrepreneurship. So I want to introduce you guys to Kate. And Kate, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah, thank you for that beautiful introduction, girl. I'm so blessed to be here. And just one thing that Michelle and I always share is we are on such similar parallel paths, and being able to watch each other really grow into the fullness of our greatness and our highest expression, and invite our audience and those who feel in resonance with us to rise and do the same. Ooh, chills. It's just such a blessing. So, like she said, my name is Kate West. My business is called Guiding Light Healing Studios. I'm an intuitive energy healer, channeler, nutritionist, spiritual counselor, essentially all things related to spiritual wellness and development. It's my life's work to inspire, those who feel a resonance and a call to step into their greatest expression and align with their soul's purpose through really activating and recognizing the divine within. And so very often, people who are on this spiritual path have perhaps they've had an awakening sometime in the last 5 years, as many people did after the COVIDs and all the things, 2020, essentially end up in this space of I feel like there is more for me in my life. I feel like there's a way that I could help. I feel like there's a way I could give back. I feel like there's a way that I could really align with a greater version of myself. My whole journey into this work started when I was really young. I was introduced to meditation when I was 13. So like more than, not to age myself too much, but more than 20 years ago. And for whatever reason, just stepping into being my best version and living my highest life was always about I remember that being on my MySpace bio in high school. Like, my biggest priority is being my best version of myself. And I don't know why. No one in my family was into personal development, self-reflection, healing work whatsoever. But obviously, Spirit had a greater plan for my life. And so it is my passion to help people find out what theirs is as well.
I love that so much. And how were you introduced to meditation at the age of 13? Like, what brought you into that space? And when you
Yeah.
meditated, did you feel it right away, or it took time and practice? Was it this natural ability to connect?
Yeah, it's a great question. So my childhood best friend, who's still my best friend to this day, 28 years, her uncle was dating this hippie chick who taught at a kind of a granola college on the west coast called UC Santa Cruz. And she introduced chakra opening to my best friend. And so her and I would sit down together, and I would guide her through this guided meditation once I learned how to do it, of opening our chakras. Very soon I started doing that for my friends as well. But, I grew up in a very, very chaotic household and didn't have my own space at all. So I would go into the bathroom and I'd sit on the floor and I would meditate when I was going through a particularly challenging time, or when my home life was extra crazy. And it was just a moment where I could find peace and clarity despite living in a situation that was very far from either of those things. So the connection to my energy field was actually, in retrospect now, since we're talking about it, was pretty immediate. I definitely just felt like a strong connection to the chakra system. And that was just a practice that stayed with me through, off and on through high school and college. And anytime I was feeling particularly fractured or dysregulated within myself, I just understood the value of meditation. And so it wasn't until fast forward like 2017 I was in a sound healing meditation. It was like 2 hours long. And I had this whole, I don't want to call it an out of body experience because I was in my body, but my consciousness was teleported outside of my body. And I was shown all of these fascinating things, but primarily I was shown what my purpose was. And that's really what catapulted me into becoming the healer that I am today.
That is amazing. It's such a beautiful story. It's beautiful to see the unfolding of that, how it started at 13 and how you were aware of the chakras. I wasn't even aware of my spiritual connection until 2020. So I didn't have
Hmm.
any idea about meditation. I grew up Catholic. So that
Hmm.
was the year everything transitioned for me. But what was the year that you decided that you were going to become a business owner and actually serve the collective with your gifts or even discover your gifts? Because that
Yeah.
unfolded during that journey too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I guess I'll preface this by saying I never intended to be an entrepreneur. In fact, I used to think that people who owned a business were like a little crazy. It was like such a high risk, high reward. And I was like, no, there's no way I would ever do that. Well, I ended up going to graduate school for holistic nutrition. So I went to the University of Natural Medicine up in Portland, Oregon, and I received a master's in holistic nutrition. And so right at 2020, I started working with a naturopathic doctor who was referring her patients to me, and I was developing medical nutrition therapeutic plans to support her treatment. So I'm essentially helping people heal their relationship to food and to their bodies. And so as I'm getting into this work as a clinical nutritionist, naturally I start getting a little bit more involved in health coaching, right? Because I can see from the holistic perspective, everything's connected. It's not just, the way that people are eating, it's their whole lifestyle choice that's really creating dysregulation or, disharmony in their body, right? But as I'm unpacking that further, it became very clear to me that the broken relationship with food or with their bodies was actually just a surface level manifestation of a much deeper dysfunction and root cause, which was a poor relationship with themselves. So from that point, that's when I really started opening up, and I went from being a nutritionist to a health coach to had another spiritual awakening. So then I was a spiritual life coach, and that took me much deeper down the rabbit hole of, the coaching space of subconscious reprogramming work and identity shifting, mindset work into emotional regulation, nervous system healing, somatic work, and then finally stepping into energy healing. So for me, and I think Michelle feels the same way too, not to speak for you, but from what I've gathered, like stepping into becoming an entrepreneur has been the most transformative experience of my entire life. It has shaped me into I'm getting an image of like a pearl. You know what I mean? Like it's been this gradual polishing and deepening in alignment of my own authenticity. And through that space, I feel like my purpose and my gifts were just continue to unfold as I went deeper and deeper and deeper into myself because, any high integrity guide, teacher, healer needs to be a product of their work. We can only really support we can only support others to the depth that we have met ourselves, you know. And so I, just deep dove into working with teachers, working with mentors, and just trying to uncover, ooh, chills, trying to uncover as much about me that was not in alignment with my highest version of self so that I could really offer those tools and insights and perspectives to those who were just a couple steps behind me.
I love that so much. Can you describe if anyone is looking to tune more into their intuition, because that's something I talk a lot about, or to enhance their gifts, what are some things that they can
Mm-hmm.
do in order to connect with that higher self or
Mm-hmm.
connect with their gifts?
Yeah, so many ways to go about doing this, right? But the first thing that was coming through when you were saying that is that we just need to slow down and listen, right? Slow down and listen. So many people feel like, I don't know how to meditate or I don't understand how this works. I need to pursue something outside of myself. But any great teacher or guide will tell you, no, 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 no. This is about learning how to listen to that quiet steady voice internally, right? And so, what I always like to share with my audience is that meditation is not this tool that is meant to make you stop your mind, because that's impossible. That's not what that is. Meditation allows you to observe your mind, right? When you are the observer, not only are you outside of the stories, but you are actually connecting with your intuition when you are the witness, right? Because we are not the stories, we are not the experiences, we are not that chatter, we are the one watching it, which is that, as Michael Beckwith says, the presence that is never an absence. And the more you give yourself permission to just spend time in that juicy hang time between your thoughts, right? You are actually already connecting with the divine. You're already connecting with your higher self. And from there, you're going to just start noticing this deeper impulse that's always guiding you that you just simply hadn't paid attention to before. And over time, that just continues to get stronger and stronger. So, as a small example for myself, I opened up my channeling and clairaudience abilities at the end of 2020, I believe it was. simply through setting the intention that I wanted to connect with my team of spirit guides. Like I was aware I had them, I had an idea of who they were to an extent, and I just set the intention. I was like, I'm in meditation and I'm available, and a few attempts of that, I was able to form a connection. Once that connection was there, it was like fine tuning my energy field to a frequency in which I could hear the voice of spirit you know. But another thing I like to let people know is sometimes people are really nervous about like, okay, I just don't know if I can trust my intuition. Is it my head? Am I making it up? Right. And working with your intuition, it's an art, not a science, right? It's an art, not a science. It takes refinement, it takes practice, it takes dedication, and just consistency of deciding that that's the life you're going to live because it really is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle to choose not to be like a product of the 3D reality, be in the world, but not of the world.
That's another question that I have. Intuition has been everything for me. It's what got me to quit my 9 to 5. But the thing is,
Mhm.
my intuition didn't guide me to resist things I didn't want. It guided me to focus on the things I do want and to be one with that and to enhance my frequency in that focus. How do you balance intuition and the spiritual part of you with everyday life and
Mhm.
balancing being human and so connected at the same time? I feel like that's a
Mhm.
question that a lot of people have on their journey. What comes to me is like just giving yourself permission to have fun. And that
Yeah,
is spiritual too, as well. And we're here
of
to enjoy
course.
life. But from your perspective, how do we balance both?
It's a great question. It's a great question because at the end of the day, right, it's like we came here to have a human experience. I think a lot of people, there's conversation in the spiritual development world of like, oh, your ego is bad, you got to kill your ego. It's like, no, 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 no. We are not here to kill or eliminate anything. We are here to integrate, right? We are here to hold space for, as Matt Kahn would say, hold space for ego to give up its obsession with control, right? And so while you are on this path of the higher self, yes, of course it is a lifestyle. Yes, of course it is the guiding force. But at the same time, you don't want to deny um, who it is that you are in terms of the ego consciousness level. It's like you came here to have this experience. And so I think what you were talking about of like following your highest excitement, following your highest joy, like that is always going to naturally align you with a higher vibrational state. I think for me personally, the idea of the self mastery work, right? You hear the great teachers say to be in alignment, like you're never going to be fully in alignment 100% of the time, right? Like you're going to get caught up in old patterns of thought and fears, doubts, anxieties. Like the world is there's imprints that the world has put on all of us in our psyche. And sometimes we get lost in the sauce, and that's okay. But it's just to recognize when you have gone too deep off the path and to have the tools and the awareness to pull yourself back. So it's truly, it's awareness and observation and just being such a student of self, student of life, I think really is a lifestyle. But at the same time, to practice spirituality in a healthy way, it needs to be grounded in the body, because a lot of times what'll happen is people are just spending way too much time out in the ethereal space, just so disconnected from the present day reality. And I mean, personally, as an energy healer and doing this work, I mean, I see people who've had psychotic episodes, right? Because now they're just so dissociated from reality. We don't want that, right? So it needs to be a balance of like integrating all of this higher awareness, but also making it a grounded in practice in your day-to-day life, because you could gain all this insight listening to teachers all day long about the laws of the universe and all of the things and frequency and all of this, but if it's not a grounded day-to-day practice,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not really transformed by it. You know what I mean? You're
Exactly.
kind of just taking in all this information. I hope that answered your question.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the integration and the becoming and the unfolding and the allowing. We are in this human body and this is the vessel we're using right now. And it's this understanding that we're more than just this physical being, but we're spiritual and then having that balance. So I think that's answered beautifully because sometimes we can just feel like so caught up and we forget about the regular reality. and
Yeah.
we're meant to have fun though. That's what comes through the most. Like enjoy life and do things that excite you and be human and make mistakes and take action. One thing that I was realizing is I was afraid to take action in
Mm.
my business and I started to realize that it's okay to take imperfect action. Like for me to start this podcast, well, it's actually a relaunch. I used to have a podcast, but I've been saying over and over again, I'm going to relaunch it. I'm going to relaunch it. And it wasn't until I was like, this is the date. I'm just going to show up and do it where I start to build a momentum. So I think really this power of making a decision and taking imperfect action has really transformed my life, right? Just becoming
Mhm.
that higher version of me. And then I start to attract more people, places, opportunities in that space. How could you describe like the changes that you've had in the past year? Like, what are some of the biggest aha moments for you in the
Oh
past year? Because
gosh.
I know you've grown so much. And so speak to that old
Yeah.
version of you because they're listening.
Mm, Such a good question, girl. You're a great interviewer, by the way, if you didn't already know
Well, thank
that.
you. Yeah, because these are not planned questions, by the way.
Yeah, but they're just really nicely timed. Gosh, insights I've had in the last year. So many profound ones, particularly in the last 6 months, I'd say. So not to go too much into what's been going on with me, but I made a really big life change in February. I got out of a long-term relationship, moved to Southern California by myself with no plan. I've been traveling full time, and this has been just, it's like a portal of transformation, a big death and rebirth. And through that, I think the thing that was really reflected back to me. So, you know, everyone in our spiritual development journeys, there's key areas of life through which all of our primary transformation and growth is funneled through. So for some people, that's their health. For some people, it's their relationships. For some people, it's their life purpose. For some people, it's finances, right? For me, it's been my business. So it's been both purpose and finances. That's where my core wounds and dysfunction is always reflected, and I do the most work on myself. So in the last 6 months, looking back to just the version of myself that I was this time last year, I was so fixated on the wrong things. Like I just had so many blind spots. I didn't realize that while I was doing all of this work on myself outside of actually being a business owner and taking action in my business, as soon as I stepped into my healing work, let's say, like I'm making my content, doing the things, I was still embodying this version of self who didn't feel worthy, who didn't believe in herself, that was like so desperately needing validation via people's comments and interaction with my content to give me a reason to believe in myself. I was waiting for an invitation to sit at the table before just choosing that I belonged there in the first place, right? I wasn't acting from a place of sovereignty. I wasn't acting from a place of personal power. I was continuing to reinforce this identity of someone who has always just had a hard time in these particular areas and all of these sob stories, right?
Getting a visual of like one foot in, one foot out, like you're there, and the
Yeah.
frequency is like, I don't believe fully. So maybe you're showing that you do. So, but then the results don't come in because of like the inner belief. So you were one foot in, one foot out.
Yeah. And what we were talking about right before we started recording this was the coming back to the I am worthy as being just like the key foundation and the true self-concept shift, like the true aligning with the higher self is understanding that whatever it is that you are calling in, be it divine partnership, be it more money, be it more career success, you have to truly believe that you're worthy of it now. Not when you've healed more, not when you have more credentials, not when you've written 10 books, but worthy of it now. And that needs to be this embodied truth, not just this intellectual concept, but something that your nervous system actually truly believes. So that when you step into a room where there are people who are more successful than you, further along, you don't shrink and become the wallflower. You understand that you belong there too, because you are just as worthy as they
We're both connected to unlimited potential. And that's actually something I've had to learn in my journey is I would put these people on a pedestal because
are.
they've
Yeah,
made millions, because they did this, because they attracted
yeah, me
this. And
too.
what does that say about us when we attract A, B, and C? And then are we putting ourselves on a pedestal? So it's not in alignment when we, I don't know what just happened.
I know. Fireworks show. That's so funny.
I
I
know,
know
I
you're
know.
doing this, and the thing was like, angels are like, yes.
Yeah,
What's
it's
she
just
saying?
not in alignment when we put people above us or below us. We're all connected to infinite potential. And when we can walk into the room with I am worthy and we can create a business from the I am worthy, step into a relationship from I am worthy, it shifts everything. And I feel
Mm,
like really coming back to that, that's the whole purpose of my business, and I think that's the purpose of your business. And when you really start stepping into your spiritual gifts, everyone has different ways of connecting to their gifts. It comes
mhm,
back to this heart centeredness of I am
mhm,
worthy, and that is the healing, that is the activation, that is the higher self coming in and creating the dream life. I have another question. So if you were to look back to 2017 version of you and you were to
mm,
speak to her right now, because she's listening too, and this is why I want to have this podcast, what would you say to her right now, Kate? What would you say
mm.
to her?
2017 version of me that had just had my true spiritual awakening, understanding my purpose in life. I would tell her that this journey is so much bigger than her, that it's not really truly about her, that she is a vessel for light, that she's a vessel for healing, that she's a vessel for divine wisdom, and to just continue staying focused on her connection with source, connection with God, connection with the universe, and her connection with self. I would tell her that she already has every single thing that she needs to be successful. And it's not even about the success, it is about the impact because she already knows that she is here to impact the world in a very monumental, in her own way. And to just continue focusing on the core of why she's doing this because it's going to be uncertain, it's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be a lot of failures along the way, but to just remember that all of it is perfect and it is guiding her exactly into the woman that she needs to become to fulfill the destiny that she knows she's here to experience.
That is so powerful, and that's going to
Take
help
it in,
so
girl.
many people because I feel like we sometimes forget what we've done, what we have accomplished, how far we have come. And when we look back and we speak to that older version of us, they would be so impressed. And there's so many people who need to hear what you have to say, right? Because they resonate with it. And whether somebody wants to start a business, somebody wants to quit their 9 to 5, somebody wants to travel full time, somebody wants to move. You've done so many things, you manifested so many things, and I've been able to watch it. You made me realize that you don't have to own something to live somewhere, right? You're living in all these luxury places. And just because you don't own it doesn't mean you can't experience, doesn't mean you can't have it. Some people think
Yeah.
you has to look one way. It has to be like this. I have to have it like A, B, or C. And we can receive in so many different ways. And you've taught me that. Because
Mhm.
at the end of
Thank
the
you.
day, we don't own anything, right? When we leave
Yeah.
this planet, we don't own anything. We're here to experience it. And sometimes we
Mhm.
have these manifestations that come in and we don't even realize, wait, this is what I have to
What's happening?
experience.
Yeah. You taught me that actually. You reflected that back to me. So for your, audience that probably doesn't know, I travel full time doing house sitting all throughout California, mostly Southern California. And I've had the pleasure of staying in some absolutely beautiful multi-million dollar luxury homes that are just so high vibe, just in that prosperity consciousness, right? And I, used to kind of belittle it or discredit it or diminish, like, oh, well, I'm just living in someone else's home, right? And again, it's that shrunken version of self, almost more like that victimized version of self. But then Michelle reminded me, she was like, hang on a minute, nobody's taking anything with them when we cross over. Whether or not that's something you physically bought with actual money or not, you are still living there. In this moment, it is yours, right? And I was like, girl, you are correct.
What we manifest is a reflection of our consciousness, and we are attracting everything. I just went to a tea party at the Four Seasons. I didn't stay there overnight, but I experienced that hotel. I went to the restaurant, I walked around the property, I romanticized my life. You don't have to own it to experience it, to be one with
Hmm.
prosperity. And it doesn't have to be materialistic things, it could be anything. You curated that reality you're in right now. And it's showing you what you want, what you don't want. Like, oh, I like this in a house. I don't like that in a house. Because
Hmm.
we can
So
have it
much.
all. We can have it
I
all.
know. So much. And speaking of prosperity, I would love to ask you, and then you talk about this all the time, right? So you are prosperity and beyond. How would you speak to prosperity? What is prosperity to you?
Prosperity is overflow. It's more than enough. It is a reflection of the I am. It is your unconditional love that pours out of you, that is eternal. Prosperity is a reflection of you. It's unlimited potential in all areas of life, not just money and finances. It is asking yourself the question, what do I want if there was no lack or limitation, and becoming one with it. It is the I am presence. It's I am prosperity and beyond. And the beyond is it's forever expanding, one with God. And that's how I would describe prosperity and beyond.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about that before we hopped on, and I was like, it's the overflow. It's the always more than enough. And our soul, in its essence, right? We are pure energetic beings. It's just like how the sun is constantly shining. It's the sun comes up every single day, and it's never worried about how much light and how much warmth it's emitting to us because there's always more, always, always more. And just thinking about, so much of, and we've shared about this, that so much of my personal healing journey has been really, truly understanding abundance and recognizing that there is no lack in the universe. We have been conditioned and programmed and many times have experienced lack in many different ways. And it almost always comes down to lack that we actually perceive within ourselves that is untrue, right? Untrue. And so
It's the
understanding
stories
prosperity
we've
and
been
abundance,
telling.
yeah, and the experiences that we had as a child, and you make it mean something about you. Like, oh, my mom, like didn't show up for me, therefore there must be something wrong with me. I must not be lovable. I must not be enough. And it lacks, and it's lacking to us. But in the cosmos and the universe and the divine, it is only abundance. There's only this state of overflow. And it's really just about recognizing that within yourself, coming back into that state of wholeness from within. And then, of course, life is going to rush towards you to reflect that back.
Well, one practice I really implemented was I'm worthy with or without, because I used to put so much attachment to the external, because that's just
Yeah.
normal. That's what we've been taught with my degree, with my master's degree, with my relationships, with my money, with my finances, with my home.
Hmm.
And then I started to practice I'm worthy with or without my job. I'm worthy with or without my degree. I'm worthy with or without even my fiance. Because I'm worthy. Exactly. And I start to realize like the power is within me. If my relationship is not flourishing right now, it's because it's my energy. So I don't blame the outside anymore. If I do, which is normal, I come back home and I redirect it because we're going to go back to those old
Self-mastery.
patterns.
That's self-mastery.
But it's like reprogramming the subconscious mind, which is the part of us who can connect to this all-knowing part of us, which is like our inner being. And
Hmm.
we have all the answers. And there's a lot of shedding that has been going on this year. Is the year of the snake, which, it's in astrology
Mm.
or whatever. I'm not huge into it, but I've noticed
Yeah.
we've been shedding a lot. But shedding means I'm upgrading, I'm elevating. When we are releasing, we are upgrading. When we are activating, we're releasing. So it's
Yeah.
the byproduct. It just naturally occurs. And sometimes it's been
Hmm.
pain relationships with my family where things I grieve the old version of me. Have you ever grieved the old version of you?
A great question. I definitely have had to grieve lives that were created by a version of myself. I had to let go of an entire friend group in 2020 when they believed one thing, I believed another. Obviously, let go of my most recent partnership. It's been a lot of turnover because as you become more an aligned version of yourself, the life that you created from the old version of self is just no longer in alignment. You no longer are able to connect with people on the same things. You lose interest in things like their consciousness maybe stays the same. And as you continue to grow and expand in your self awareness, and recognizing that every single individual and every single sentient thing on this planet is all connected. There's just one living consciousness here, right? The more that becomes integrated as your truth, suddenly it's like the things that you used to be able to talk about with people, you just can't anymore. And you have to just start accepting, like, I can still love you and accept you as you are. And that's the practice, right? Radical acceptance,
Mhm.
that's the practice. But I also realize that you're not coming on this journey with me. And so, yeah, I've definitely had to grieve. Like, there was a big period of time, actually, 2022. I was really put into isolation. I pretty much let go of all of my friends. I had just a couple close friends that could come with me, and I had my partner, and I was spending so much more time alone than I ever had in my entire life. And it was a time when Spirit was really asking me to like just distill down my life as much as possible and get so quiet so I could really master myself on a deep level and master and hone my gifts as well. And it was lonely. And there were times where I would see pictures of my friends. I used to have this huge group of like 20 friends, and we would do New Year's together every year and birthdays and all this stuff. And I would see them continuing to do the thing, doing the parties. And I was just like, I wish I could still enjoy that. But that's such an old life.
If I'm looking for love or validation from someone else, I'm looking for love and validation within me. And so activating that part of me.
Mm.
Speaking of channeling, because I've started to channel my higher self, especially with my meditations and connecting to that part of me. How do you use your channeling and how do you use it to serve other people, or do you use it for yourself in your guidance?
Mm. Great question. And
Talk about
also just wanted to
channeling.
comment. Yeah. Also wanted to just comment briefly when you were saying, I have everything I need from within me. I remember saying that to a friend one time who was really struggling to be on her own. And Spirit came through and said, you have everything you need when you are with yourself. You are already complete, right? You have everything you need when you are with yourself. So channeling, yes. I started being able to spontaneously channel my spirit guides at the end of 2020. And I met my spirit guide, Rebecca, who I work with primarily now, back in April of 2021. And once I connected with her, she stepped in as my primary guide. She and I are in constant contact these days. She has asked me to do like deliberate work to hone and tune into her frequency even more so that I can just step into and letting her speak forward, very much like the star style or Abraham Hicks style. That's kind of the ultimate goal. So I do receive guidance from my own personal life, but she is the one who comes through in all of my work. So whether I'm doing my live healing show I do on TikTok a few times a week, or I'm doing one-on-one work or group work, anytime there is the wisdom, the advice, the guidance that wants to come through, it's all her.
Would you be able to channel her now for the collective, or is that something you're open to?
I'm definitely open to it. Just give me like a moment to drop in here and tune in with her and see what she wants to share. This is a beautiful gift and a beautiful space that you have created, Michelle, to invite wholeness, high vibrational energy into the world in a very powerful and profound way. And this is something that you are deeply aware of. And we are celebrating you as you bring this platform into physical manifestation and expression, because very much as Kate said earlier, this is bigger than you. This is bigger than both of you. And what is being created now is a field of higher awareness and consciousness of unconditional love, of deep reverence for self, of worthiness, of recognizing and integrating the higher self and divine light that is present within each and every individual listening. As the individuals are tuning into this frequency, they are being elevated, they are being expanded, and they are being reminded of who it is that they truly are. This is a powerful space that is going to continue to attract powerful individuals who are here to bring higher states of awareness and activate this divine and sacred remembrance. We would like to share with each and every individual listening that you are part of this collective whole, that your voice matters, that your journey matters. And if at any point you ever feel isolated, separated, or disconnected from the whole, simply turn within, because there is this profound state of wholeness, of unconditional love, of acceptance, of guidance that is emitting forth, that is always constantly reassuring you and connecting you to the greater whole. There is no separation. The illusion of separation that has driven Earth's collective consciousness for so long is being dismantled, and what is arising instead is the truth, the awareness that all truly are one. And as you continue to connect deeper and deeper within yourself, we are speaking to your audience now, as you continue to connect deeper and deeper to yourself, you are connecting deeper and deeper to the divine. This is being awakened on a global scale to all. Allow yourself, rather than being fixated and mesmerized with the fear propaganda that is rampantly available in the media outlets, give yourself permission to silence the mind, to turn within, and to deliberately choose the frequency and the version of self that you wish to be and experience. You have heard many times this expression of create and be what it is that you wish to see in the world. And that philosophy, that ideology, that truly is creating a field, a consciousness that is more, that is needed more now than ever. Be deliberate with your energy, focus, and attention. Allow yourself to be kind, practice kindness, be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, be loving and embracing towards yourself. And you will be emitting this frequency from a place of overflow, as Michelle described, as the I am, the prosperity consciousness, because there is no separation, there is no lack, there is only perfect and complete wholeness and love and peace here. And very soon you'll begin to realize when you are aligned with this consciousness, you become a beacon for this truth. You become an example of what gets to be possible when you live in alignment with a higher state of consciousness, of well-being, of unity, of oneness, of love. And so we ask you to go forth carrying this high frequency of compassion, of acceptance, of kindness, offering grace and giving forgiveness generously, because all deserve to be happy on planet Earth. All deserve to be reminded of their power that has truly been within you all along. And we bless this space. We bless each and every individual who is listening. And we say, so it is. Amen.
That made me have like a few tears. Wow.
Oh. Ooh, I didn't
That
know where she was going to go with that.
was so
Thank you.
powerful. This is what you're meant to do. You're going to be on stage doing that. This is the healing. People say, oh, I need to heal, I need to heal. Activation is the healing. Awareness of truth. And what you speak in your gift is more than just words, it is the frequency in which it holds. And that is the I am worthy, I am presence, I am activation. And it's meant to be heard by millions, Kate. Like, I'm not even just saying that. It's meant to be heard. This is what the world needs, this divine truth in your gift. And it's not a coincidence. And right now, it's not being heard by as many people as it's going to be. But as you shift one person's frequency, you don't know how many people that person's going to reach. And it's just this ripple effect. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's wonderful to have more opportunities to just step in and see what comes through, you know? And but what she was showing me in the beginning there, Michelle, and you already know this, but like this platform, it was like they were showing me just so much light being emitted into the collective. Like it's a really powerful platform that you have been chosen to be the steward of. But there are so many like ascended masters and high vibrational light beings that are guiding you through this, and it's just so important that you continue creating the space, letting other voices be shared as you already feel called and inspired to do, because you're really good at this. You're a great interviewer, and there's a potency that I feel being here with you. And I feel like we're going to look back on this, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when we're, quote, made it.
Yeah, because we already did.
And just because we already did. Yeah, and be like, man, you remember back in the day when we were doing podcasts and I was in LA and you were in Miami or in Florida. And I just think it's going to be such a special time. Like this feels like such a premonition to where we're going. Like I think we are birthing the next wave of the people who are really well known now in the personal development scene. It's like you and I and lots of other people we're the next generation of it.
Agree. And what's interesting for the listeners is that Kate has connected with Michael B. Beckwith and is
Mm-hmm.
in the choir at his church, Agape.
Mm-hmm.
And I connect with Bob Proctor on a spiritual level, but I work with his son. He's my mentor, Brian Proctor. And Michael B. Beckwith and Bob Proctor were both in the movie The Secret. So it's
Secret
just the
legend.
alignment is not a coincidence. And like our heart's desire and where we see this going and our why is so powerful. It's not because we wouldn't do it any other way. If there was like this quick way of getting rich through real estate and go do this, we wouldn't go that way. Like this is the way. Like we know we're not here by coincidence. And I think we're both Pleiadians. I don't know that much about. I feel like we've known each other in a past life, and I know we're not
For
from
sure.
here. And we've been on
Yeah.
this planet
For
hundreds,
sure.
thousands of times.
Sure.
Kate's actually done a reading for me where she's like, "This is your last lifetime here as a
Mm-hmm.
human." Um,
Mm-hmm.
but spirit's like none of that matters because what matters is right here, right now. All we have is right now and the
Mm-hmm.
eternity of now. And when we connect to that frequency in the now, it's done. How
Absolutely.
can people receive from you and find
Mm.
you? Like, what do you have to
Yes,
offer
thanks
in
for
your
asking.
business?
Thank you for asking. Guidinglightstudio.com is my website, which will take you to all of my one-on-one offers. I have about 3 different programs that are percolating right now that are going to be these group healing experiences covering a variety of topics. The one I'm most excited about is called Rise, which is going to be a whole self-concept makeover, a self-concept makeover, and all centered around personal power because my guide Rebecca, she said one of the things she said that as a collective, many of us are working through in 2025 is self-realization of personal power. That's a big theme. And July, I feel like, has been so solar plexus activating. And we've really been looking at least the messages that have been coming forward through me and my lives on TikTok has been about really identifying where we have been giving our power away. And the unworthiness piece is such a big part of it. But currently, I mostly do one-on-one work. I do a variety of different services. You can reach me there at guidinglightstudio.com. And I go by Guiding Light Healing Studio on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I do a healing experience on TikTok about 2 to 3 days a week. And I would love to invite any of your listeners in if you're looking for a high frequency an uplifting way to spend your usually evenings.
Yeah, your lives. I mean, that's how I met you. I met her on one of
Yeah,
her lives and I got a reading done. And it's more than just a reading, it's an activation. And it is such heart driven work that you do. And the frequency you hold in that room is magnetic and people feel it. So go join her TikTok community and go follow her there. And can you talk about you're doing the Akashic Blueprint healing?
yeah, yeah,
Can you
yeah. So
talk a little bit about that?
I would love to. So it's been such an interesting journey of, when I started as a nutritionist, I was really mastering the physical health body, right? And then I went into mindset work, and it was really the mental and emotional field. And then I think it was end of 2021. My best friend was reading for me. She's a crazy talented psychic. And my guys were like, hey, Kate, you're an energy healer. You got to start doing that now. And I was like, that's cool. What does that mean? I don't know how to practice energy work, right? So, of course, fast forward a couple months later, I'm doing this online workshop about being your best self. And this individual, David, joins. And I give out a free session for random person. I pick him Turns out he was an energy healer, he's a master energy healer, working with this very niche modality that spirit gave specifically to him called Akashic Blueprint Integration. And I was like, that's a lot of words. What does that mean? And he said, in 1990s, in the, I think 1991, he was training with Linda Howe, who was like the original Akashic Records reader. She's pretty famous back in the day. And he said that when they received their attunement into the Akashic Records, his whole class went into the reading room, but his guides took him into the healing room. And they showed him how to navigate the Akashic Records through a very unique lens in which I opened up my clients' records and I channeled the vibrational blueprint, one could say, of their higher self into their current energy field, their human's energy field, the one that has been conditioned, the one that has been traumatized, that is holding, emotional baggage and all the things. So it is profound. It is super, super unique and tailored to the clients. Whereas, Reiki, of course, a beautiful practice, but with Reiki, we're channeling energy from the universal energy field, and it's a little more non-specific. The blueprint is actually your higher self's energy field. So I see just all kinds of bananas results from it. But those are definitely some of my favorite um, sessions to do because they're so unique and 100% guided by spirit.
Haven't gotten one yet, and I would be so interested. And what would be cool is I could get one, and maybe we could do an episode where people could see it
Yeah,
and watch how it works.
that would be awesome. I'd love that. Yeah, let's rendezvous and talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that so much. Well, you've come such a long way, and what is next for you? Where do you see yourself? What's next?
Yes, thank you. So, my guide, Rebecca, we've been talking about writing a book together for a while. I started it, I submitted a proposal to Hay House Publishing last year, and it was basically like scrap it and start over. So we're going to be writing a book on basically the five core healing principles of love, which is compassion, acceptance, forgiveness, grace, and allowance or surrender. And I'm going to be diving really, really deep into these kind of more, as Michael Beckwith would call them, spiritual technologies and how we can heal and evolve. So that's in the works. Ooh, I just got chills. Ultimately, though, I will be doing group healing experiences like luxury retreats and tropical destinations, sort of what you witnessed here, right? Where there's just the channeling, but it's actually carrying an activation at a frequency to help people heal and transform. So that's going to be Kate. We're stepping into that sooner rather than later because I've been telling myself I'm not ready and all the things that the humans do, right?
Well, I could see that book turning into like a workshop where here's the book, and then here's like five channel messages on each thing, and then some inner practice work around the five modalities. I could totally see that. Kate has so much to offer. She will change your life. So go check her
You're so
out.
sweet, Michelle.
And anything
Appreciate
else you
you.
want to share?
Yeah. Just be kind to yourself, be kind to each other. This is the time where we are going through a collective dismantling, right? But it is a breakdown to break through. Don't believe everything you hear on the news. Listen to yourself, stay regulated, take care of yourself. And remember, at the end of the day, the only thing you're going to ask yourself, it's not, did I buy enough cars or did I do this? It's, did I love enough? That's what you're going to ask yourself. Did I love enough? To
I love
practice love.
that.
Mhm.
Yes. That love, shine that love from the inside out.
That's
I
right.
love it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so blessed for our friendship, and I really just can't wait to continue walking this journey alongside. Those of you that are tuning into Michelle now, I mean, I met her, I think it was January of 2024, and she has turned over so many times, and I'm just so proud of you, and I cannot wait to see what you continue to create and bring forth.
Well,
You're
thank you
very
so
powerful.
much, Kate. I feel the same way about you. I feel so blessed. I manifested this friendship and we get to watch
Yeah.
each other grow. And that's such a beautiful thing to have, just to cheer each other on in an authentic, organic, beautiful, supportive way where I just want Kate to win and she is winning.
I
So,
know, Michelle. We are winning one more every day.
all right. See you guys in the
All
next
right, sweetie.
episode.
Take care, guys.